I am delighted to be here with a very special coach, woman, friend, Asmaa Al-Kuwari.
Power World always has a different spot in my heart. It's where everything started. So
The fantastic work that you are doing with organizations and really bringing, again, this wisdom.
it was a huge culture clash for me, like understanding a different culture and being part of a different environment and then coming back to a total different culture.
I'm just guessing this, that you found a way to marry this. And as a consequence, you opened up these wonderful opportunities to serve and support others who are potentially experiencing what you're experiencing.
Felt like I was an alien or someone that was very different from the people that were around me.
On the whole, because of course we will attract people that will challenge us as well.
True.
Hello listeners, we are your co-hosts Janine Bailey and Marie Quigley for the Empower World Coaching and Leadership Podcast.
Empower World brings guests who are making a difference to the world to inspire coaches and leaders who lead with mind, heart and soul.
Hello and welcome everybody to the next episode of the Empower World Coaching and Leadership Podcast. And I am delighted to be here with a very special coach, woman, friend, Asmaa Al-Kuwari. Thank you for being here, Asmaa. I'm so excited about our conversation because we met and we worked together just recently. So so I was very keen to bring you on this podcast because you've got some beautiful wisdom, insights, experiences to share with the world, to share your knowledge and gifts. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Judy, for having me. And Empower World always has a different spot in my heart. It's where everything started. So forever grateful.
That's very kind. And so I'm going to hand over to you shortly to introduce yourself. But firstly, just to say, I'm currently here in Australia, my last couple of days before I move back to the UK permanently to be in the same country as Marie, which is very exciting. And of course, Asmaa, you and I met in Qatar when we did trainings. I think that was back in 2019. Right.
2018. Yeah.
Thank you for remembering. And Marie and I were very privileged to have you join us in that training. And it was a delight to also have a Qatari national be with us as well. Again, to provide lots of, different perspectives. And that's what we wanted to talk about today, different perspectives and different ways of seeing our world. So, Asmaa, over to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Janine. So my name is Asmaa Al-Kuwari. I'm a executive and life coach, founder of Asmaa Consultancy, where we provide training and coaching specifically for leadership executives to support them in working on their mindset to become better leaders. And I actually started my journey after I've joined the program with Janine and Marie. And I'm also a founder of a community for women called You're Not Alone, which supports women to connect, collaborate, and communicate to discuss everything that's related to womanhood, both personally and professionally, which I started actually also after coaching in 2019. It's now 5 years for that community. And I've been fortunate enough to be, I would say, trailblazer and coaching in Qatar here, supporting individuals to unlock their potential, supporting them to have the right mindset, supporting them to lead their lives and reach the goals that they want. And I've been fortunate enough to be introduced to coaching, and I've found my purpose in coaching, and I'm so grateful where the journey has led me to now. And I think we'll share more after we discuss more.
Thank you, Asmaa. And yes, I totally agree. You are a trailblazer in Qatar, and I'm believing beyond.
Yeah.
And see through what you've been sharing, the fantastic work that you are doing with organizations and really bringing, again, this wisdom, but also bringing your coaching perspectives and ways of supporting and empowering people in a fabulous.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I know you were one of the early Qatari coaches to get your professional credential with the ICF. So again,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Asma, you and I, we got together a couple of months ago, and which was amazing in that we were supporting an organization, supporting the leaders to learn coaching skills in Arabic. So thank you for really being such a wonderful support for Empower World to do that program. And of course, we got together and you shared with me some incredible insights about yourself. And it was so rich to learn about the journey that you've been on and that's led you to where you are today. So I'd like to hand back to you to share whatever you feel is appropriate to share about that amazing journey of just learning that people have different perspectives and different ideas, and we can get caught into mindsets that can potentially block us from incredible experiences.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Thank you, Judy. So I guess I'll start my story. I grew up in the United States due to my dad's studies. So our family grew up there. And once my dad finished, we came back to Qatar to settle down. And for me, so my whole childhood was in the States. And then coming back to Qatar, I think it was around 1999. It was a huge culture clash for me, like understanding a different culture and being part of a different environment and then coming back to a total different culture. I think for me took a toll on me, and not understanding also the community, but how the society works, coming from more an open society to a more conservative society, kind of created that culture clash for me. And I found myself trying to understand of what part of me will stay and what part of me kind of goes, or what should stay and what should go. And understanding my own identity, especially for a child, is pretty difficult, where you're still exploring life and trying to understand yourself. And for me at that time, I took a decision to kind of close on myself and just be very protective of who I was, because who I truly was at that time, very outgoing and talkative, and sharing her opinion was kind of not within the standards of what a girl should be in the society here in Qatar. And I think for that, I just took on an observant role of life to understand the people around me, to kind of create that wall of protecting myself until I got to a point where I felt like I was suffocating, because it was me living a totally different life of who I truly was, and not being able to share my opinion, or not being able to say no to certain things, or even sharing what I like or I don't like, and all of that matter. And trying to find that balance and trying to find yourself, I think, has been probably the toughest journey I've been throughout. But it came to a point where I had to choose. I would live my whole life behind this wall, or I would let my wall down and see what comes out. And I think it kind of created trying to find the balance of both worlds, and finding my identity within has been, I think, the best gift I've given myself, because I was able to pull in the strengths of the different experiences I've been, the different worlds and cultures and environments. And I think that also played a huge role with me, not only here in Qatar, but also international, to be able to connect with people globally, like we're doing right now. And I think that's been a blessing, but I wasn't able to find that or grasp that until I got into coaching and what coaching is. And I remember sharing, I think I shared this with Eugenie before, how I found out about coaching was through an Instagram post where I was working and I had a lot going on in my life, and I had a lot of personal issues that were going on in my life, and I was struggling to pull myself out there. but I didn't even know what I was trying to pull myself out of. And it was a lot of questions that I didn't have answers for. And I think just putting it out there, like my intention of I want answers to the questions I had, I think that's when the post caught my eye. And I was looking at someone that actually just took the training program with you. And she was saying that her life changed 180 degrees, that it changed drastically. She was able to understand herself and all of that. And I think that's what got me curious to ask more about the program, about what coaching has to offer. At that time, coaching wasn't well known as it's known here right now, and especially in the Qatari community, the local community. And I think that's what intrigued me to understand. I was always into personal development and reading books and understanding, but what coaching brought, I think, was another perspective of how you can elevate yourself and get connected on a more deeper level and create that awareness for yourself to be able to unlock your potential and have a clearer vision of where you want to go and how you'll get there and what will happen when you get there. I think that's what intrigued me about coaching. And even when I went through the program, my intention was not to become a coach. My intention was just to explore myself more and find the answers I was looking for. And I was so fortunate to be able to go through that program. It was such a game changer for my whole life. It wasn't just for the field of coaching. I found the answers I was looking for. I was able to understand myself. I was able to forgive people I didn't think I had a grudge on. I was able to let go from a lot of things that held me back, like certain limiting beliefs of what I thought I should be or what I had to be. And I think going through that journey just kind of like opened another level of opportunities. And once you're there, it creates another level of awareness for yourself where there's so much potential that you can have just by creating that awareness and believing that you deserve all the things that you set your mind to. And I think also what made me take the decision of becoming a coach is looking for someone who really understood the community, who really understood the background, the culture, the tradition, and how that works, made me take that decision of, I want to be that. I want someone, because I couldn't find that. I wanted to be someone where I was able to support people who came from the same culture, the tradition, understand how the dynamics of the society works, how religion plays a role and all of that, to be able to support me. So it makes it easier for me as a coach and for the client to connect and then just work on what else do you need to be able to get to the goals or reach the goals that you want. And it's been such a journey. I want to say it was an easy journey because when I started, which was around 2018, taking the decision to become a coach, at that time, not much coaches were there, Qataris. And for me, it wasn't just about only being Qatari, it was also about being a woman. So what's the role of bringing a new profession in life where people didn't understand what I did, didn't understand who I was, what I was trying to pitch for them in terms of what a coach can provide for them in both personal and professional. And at that time, I took it on me to be probably the most vulnerable I've been, because I would put myself in front of a screen on social media and I would talk about all the taboo issues that we would have within the society. And for people, I think it went both ways. They're either saying, what is she talking about? How can she talk about such issues? But then on the other hand, it's more of, oh, we can relate so much. And finally, there's someone that's standing up and talking about these issues that are happening and how we can support ourselves and really be comfortable with who we are and lead a life that's closer to our truer higher self. And I guess that happens. You sometimes have supporters, but sometimes you also have people who would try to bring you down or don't believe in you as much, especially when you're starting in a new journey. And it's because they're either afraid of the change that's going to happen, or they're either afraid of the unknown, because it has been a new profession for them. People still don't understand it. Like till this day, we have to be very clear about what the role of a coach is, how we can support them, what's the difference between a coach and a therapist and a psychologist and a mentor and a trainer. And I think that comes just with the role of being a coach, an ethical coach. I'm going to just put out there an ethical coach that understands what their boundaries are, what they can support and not support them, to be able to help people become better versions of themselves. And even though it's been a journey where sometimes I feel like I wanted to give up. And I think that comes because of how many people try to bring you down when you want to create change in general, but especially when it's a positive change. Not everyone is ready for it. But then if we're just going to focus on that, that's just going to bring you down. But if you're focusing more on the positive aspect of, there are so many people who really want your help, who really do want that change and are just looking for the right person to help support them find that, is such a blessing that I'm till this day forever grateful, because the change that you create in people's lives when they go through this coaching journey it's untangible, but the effect is for life. And the fact that people still recognize, it could be just a word that you have said, it could be just a small tip that you have shared, or it could be a full coaching journey that you have shared with this client that has affected their whole life. They now understand themselves more. They now believe in themselves more. They're more confident in their decisions. They're able to create boundaries. They're able to lead their life. They're able to just open opportunities for themselves to feel like they deserve whatever they want is something phenomenal in my end. And then I'm forever grateful to be in this journey and to be part of it, and for people to still come up and say, thank you so much. You have no idea how much you have changed my life. Just makes everything worth it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Wow. Thank you for sharing your journey and your story, and you shared it so beautifully and touched on so many important things that for people who are not coaches, and also for coaches as well. For those who are listening who are already coaches, that potentially the coaches that might be struggling or losing confidence because of the naysayers that are out there. And I really appreciate the journey that you've been on, that you are a trailblazer in Qatar. You are forging a pathway for, I'm sure, many that will follow, that are already on that journey of either coaching professionally or they're incorporating the skills in the work that they do. So
yeah.
And what I heard, Asma, was that there was for you that struggle between the part of you that grew up in the US and coming back to Qatar, to a very different society, and again and a way of being and living, which I've had the very fortunate experience of living in Qatar full time for 8 years and loved it. It was such a wonderful experience because of all of these different cultures and religions and ways of being and doing, and I just love that about Qatar.
Yeah.
And so what I heard was that real challenge of marrying those two worlds. So it was sort of like, it's this way or this way. So to manage, I'll just not put my head down, but I'll retreat. That's what I was hearing. But what I'm also hearing is that you found a way to marry those two. I'm just guessing this, that you found a way to marry this, and as a consequence, you opened up these wonderful opportunities to serve and support others who are potentially experiencing what you're experiencing. I'm just curious about that assumption that I'm making.
Oh, definitely. I think sometimes there are certain experiences or aspects in our life where we kind of want to hide and just make one aspect kind of show. But I think the struggle will always be there unless you find a way where you can kind of combine everything and every aspect of your life. to what you truly are. And I think that's what created the difference for me. And this is I think this is now becoming a strength and advantage of who I am as a person and as a coach as well. I'm able to bring from this mindset. I'm able to bring from this world and build on it and understand. And the more I understand myself, the more I'm able to support people to do that as well. So definitely, yes.
Yeah, it's like you've embraced those two parts versus hiding away from whatever parts you felt you had to in the past.
Yeah.
So you've navigated that challenge, and so to navigate that challenge, what were the kind of questions or assumptions the questions that you might have asked yourself, or assumptions that you challenged, that for people who are listening might have the same sort of similar kind of scenario?
So, for example, I could some of the challenges I've been through is my accent. So a lot of people, when I came here in Doha, still didn't have English as a language, for example, learning in school. And you're talking about I was 10 years old at that time. So for me to come with a fluent American, not even English, American accent, felt like I was an alien or someone that was very different from the people that were around me. And just being able to go through that challenge of, do I keep my accent or do I let it go so that I can be accepted by others? This is something me and also my brothers and sisters struggled with. And I think for all of us, we took it differently. So for myself, I would hold myself back from talking English from people who would talk in Arabic, so that I wouldn't have to expose my accent. But for example, for my brothers and sisters, they decided to go for a more of a laid back Qatari accent that would speak in English so that they could feel like they fit in. So it was just, do I let go of who I am to fit in, or do I just be myself and then find people who would accept me for who I was? And I think these are the kind of questions I would always ask myself. What do I need to feel like I can be my true self for myself and not just for people to accept who I am? And the more your acceptance of yourself becomes bigger, the more you'll actually find people, the right people to be around. And the more I think you kind of hide yourself back or hold back, the more you'll still find people that would just accept parts of you and not you as a whole. And even understanding how to filterize this has been a challenge. But I think the more you're aware about yourself, the more you're aware about what you bring, the more you're accepting of the different aspects of who you are, the easier it's for you to find the people that look like you internally, like your truer self, that you can connect on a deeper level. It's not just like how you look or what you do or what background or the religion you come from, but it's the connection of souls, which is something different. Like when you connect with someone on a soul level and awareness level, and you have those deep conversations, it's another level of human connection that I always embrace, and I always are grateful for to have that. So these are some of the kind of questions. Other questions could be, am I able to be myself around people that love me? And if I am, would that change anything? And I think that's another question of understanding if the person in front of you does hold that space for you to be who you are, that are accepting you, not only for your strengths, or not only for what is amazing about you, but also what are some of your limitations, some of your weaker aspects of yourself. Can you become vulnerable with this person? I think all of these also build on how you can create that connection, both personally and professionally as well. And that helps support, build the rapport, build the trust with people around you. And it's also easier for you as a coach. The more you're accepting of what you bring to the table and your true high self, the more people feed off your energy. I think energy is so important, so important, because it's not just about the skills aspect. It's about how you're able to create that bond, that rapport, that trust with the person. And it's been a blessing because for me, I think that's probably the top comment I always get with people, that it's so easy to connect with you. You have this energy about you. It's so easy to open up. I'd never spoken to someone from the first time and blabbered everything about my personal life, and I just met you for the first time. And I think this is kind of a strength to bring to the table. Of that also goes back to how much of work you've done on yourself, and you've learned about yourself to be able to hold that space for others to bring in what they need so that they can get the most out of the session.
Yeah, beautiful shared. And so what I'm hearing is really at the crux of it, it's about that self-acceptance of who we are, and letting go of judgment that may be or may not be happening from others.
Yeah.
Stories about what people think about us, but I'm hearing it's self-acceptance, and I'm again making assumption self-love, and
definitely
through that it creates our energy, it creates our vibe, it communicates to people that we meet in a way that potentially attracts the people that we're meant to be with, that we're meant to work with, partner with, and so much more.
Definitely, yes.
On the whole, because of course we will attract people that will challenge us as well.
True.
Out of the rich tapestry of life, as they say. But on the whole, what I'm hearing is that through that looking after self first, everything else comes.
Definitely. I think you tapped into people who would challenge us, and I think it's part of the journey. And I always love this metaphor of the heartbeat. The heartbeat goes up and sometimes it does go down, but it's the matter of how you can pick yourself back up. And when it goes up and down, that means you're actually living. Because if you always find people who are going to support you, you're probably going to be in a straight line, which doesn't work. And that's not how life is. So it's all about the ups and downs. But the most important is how you can pick yourself back up, even when people challenge you, even when people would bring you down or would create something that you're probably not comfortable with. That just sets you to another level of awareness. At least that's my opinion, to understand yourself more.
Yeah. So, Asmaa, as we start to come to the end of our podcast, I'm wondering, what is it that you might like to share with the audience that's important, one of your key messages, because of the incredible journey that you've gone on to learn about yourself and integrate these two worlds and open up amazing opportunities for you, but not just for you, but for others who, that ripple effect where people are going to experience a positive impact because of the great work that you're doing. What might you like?
I think probably the two main things that I always like to remind myself is patience is key. Sometimes we want to get to our goals really fast or become the coach that we want to be, like on the spot, or get the clients, or get that amount of revenue, especially that we want to create a business out of it. But it's really the patience that you bring, because every step does take you closer to your goals. So be patient with yourself. Be patient with the no's and the rejections. Even though probably I just said the positive aspects of this journey, it was filled with so many hurdles. It was filled with so many challenges that sometimes take a toll on us. It's filled with a lot of opportunities on when to say yes and when to say no. So just being patient with yourself, that believing in yourself, you will get there. It's just a matter of believing in yourself every single time. I think something that we as coaches always need to remind ourselves with. One thing. And then the second thing is how to build your resilience mindset. I think that's very important. As we said, sometimes things will work out, sometimes they won't, but it's about finding yourself and navigating through that journey. And I think enjoying the journey, not only looking at the end goal, but being able to kind of flow like the like the river, to be able to get in and build your path slowly to be able to get your goal. I think that's what really works for me. And I think that's something we remind ourselves constantly to be within that, to get to where we want. And you will get there. You will get there. It's just a matter of believing in yourself, reminding yourself why you're doing what you're doing every day, and enjoying these blessings that you have to be able to continue that path.
Very, very wise words, Asmaa. And again, that wisdom is relevant for us as coaches and for every single human being I trust and believe. And it's been wonderful to watch your journey, Asmaa, appreciating who you were in the room back in 2018.
Yeah.
And again, Marie and I recognizing there was something really special in you in terms of, potentially being a coach. So I know that wasn't your intention when you first joined the trip.
Yeah.
There was something that both Marie and I spotted in you. And so it's just wonderful to see the journey that you've gone on and hear, how you're here right now, confident, you've always been well-spoken, but just articulate in terms of what you share and the wisdom that you bring. So it's really, truly beautiful to see, observe, hear, and feel. So thank you, Asmaa, for doing what you do, Janine.
Thank you both.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. And Asmaa, we look forward to seeing you very soon, I trust, back in Doha. And
yes.
Looking forward to that. And thank you, listeners. We'd love to hear your feedback as well. What you enjoyed, what feedback that you'd like to give ourselves, Asmaa, to continue our journey of growth. So thank you. And we look forward to you connecting with us in the future. All the very best.
Thanks for listening. You can find out more about us on our website, www.empower-world.com, and on our social media networks, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Be empowered.